Careful people report the truth. Welcome to GPDN Weekly News. I'm Ella Lee. First of all, let's look at world headlines of this week. The Kurdistan Regional Government (KRG) held an independence referendum on September 25th, but Turkey's president threatened that Iraqi Kurds could go hungry if Masoud Barzani, the Kurdish leader, insisted on it. Iraq's Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi demanded the KRG to abandon control of its airport in 3 days. Mr. Erdogan also urged Turkey to dissuade Mr. Barzani from seeking power by cutting the supply of oil. Iran also declared not to fly directly to and from the Kurdistan region. A week after Hurricane Maria arrived at Puerto Rico, most homes are without power and phone service, scars on food, medicine, and water. San Juan's mayor called this a humanitarian crisis. Help is hard to find and people are desperate to escape, but leaving hasn't been easy. For now, the situation is dire, but the Trump administration claimed to be working hard to relieve the stress, and people from all over the country are trying to help. Saudi Arabia has announced that it will issue an order to allow women to drive, which ends a long-standing ban on women drivers. This order will take effect in next June. Saudi Arabia is the sole country in the world to prohibit women from driving. Until today, they still have to hire drivers to go to work. To encourage women to participate in the workplace, leaders in Saudi Arabia lift the ban in hopes that they can improve their international reputation and economy. A letter accusing Pope Francis of spreading heresies was signed and sent to Pope Francis by more than 24 conservative Catholic scholars and clergies. The letter describes Pope of supporting issues such as allowing a couple who has remarried after a divorce to receive Holy Communion. The conservative clergies and scholars believe that this act has deviated from the Church's traditions, which may potentially lead Catholics who divorced and remarried to receive Holy Communion. Pope Francis has yet to respond to the letter of accusation. Now let's look at GPD and Human Rights Focus. On September 26, Human Rights Watch released a 62-page report which points out that in recent years, Saudi Arabia has allowed its religious leaders and others to stir hostility and prejudicial treatment against religious minorities, such as Shia Muslims, through the internet and social media. One Saudi Arabia's religious scholar denies Shia Muslims as their brothers. Such provocation caused bigotry against Shia. Worst of all, some major terror groups also use similar words to defend themselves for attacking Shia. International human rights law demands that governments should not allow any hate of nations, races, or religions to raise prejudicial treatment. Therefore, Saudi authorities should halt the hate speech immediately. September 21st is the International Day of Peace observed by the United Nations. It is encouraged to celebrate this day with different ways, and in New York, a celebration gathered many NGOs to praise world peace and exchange thoughts about how to facilitate peace. Joanne Dye has more.
September 21st is International Peace Day, and I'm at New York famous landmark Times Square. There are many NGOs from different countries gathering together to celebrate love and peace. It is very important and significant to have this kind of events, especially during UN's meeting.
Because we're going to create not only world peace.
The organizer, Paul Slacker, said that this activity has been held every year in Central Park in Times Square since 2002. Through the celebration, it hopes to make people to get to know each other and make the world filled with love.
We've been doing events, Central Park and in Times Square, to help the world realize that it's a good place to live in, and people are kind and loving and caring, and the majority of the world lives in peace.
The Federation of World Peace and Love was invited to join the celebration. A group of young volunteers dressed up as angels to spread the positive energy of love and peace and to console people's hearts through singing and dancing. There were also energy boys and girls who brought the dragon horse dance, and the crowd was dancing with them on the streets of New York, regardless of rage.
To me, that was the most important impact of the program, was that it was coming from our youth. And I was looking into the eyes of these young men and women who really were embodying the peace that they were dancing out and they were expressing. So not only was it in their movements and in their expression and their song, but it was in their hearts. And you can see that, and that cannot be faked.
Especially in this day and time with everything that's crazy and going on in the world, we need more love, we need more peace, we need more energy. And this is just, I think if we did this more often and just loved one another and cared about one another and just really showed empathy and compassion for one another, the world would be so much more of a better place.
Through the celebration of International Day of Peace on September 21st, different NGOs shared ideas with one another and brought the positive energy to the unstable world. Joe and I, Bob Huang, Iris Chen, New York.
During the United Nations General Assembly, heads of state and delegations were discussing pressing issues the world is facing. On September 18th, an international forum of love and peace was held to give different NGO representatives a platform to provide their opinions on love and peace. Felicia Zhou has more.
Currently in New York City, the NYPD has all the streets blocked for United Nations 72nd General Assembly, which is starting soon. At the same time, many other NGOs are hosting high-level side events, trying to collaborate with other NGOs and government leaders. Behind me, the Federation of World Peace and Love is hosting World Leader Summit at the Church of Covenant, trying to unite other NGOs to create more possibility for a peaceful and sustainable world. Show us your lanterns! The theme of the 2017 World Leader Summit of Love and Peace is Call for Global Action, Awakening of Conscience for a Sustainable World. There were at least 10 NGOs attending the summit and sharing about the actions they have taken. In the welcome speech from Dr. Hong, the president of FOPAL addressed that the key to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals is to awaken people's conscience.
If we have kind thoughts and justice in our hearts, what citizens can promote peace and human rights in their daily lives, and everybody can live in safety and dignity.
Many attendees were inspired deeply by the concept of conscience.
When we honor our consciousness, we begin to enter into the frequency of honor. And when we honor, we open our hearts and we open our minds. And so when our hearts and minds are together, we begin to see a very clear path towards our destiny.
It is sometimes challenging and depressing for non-government organizations to promote their concepts. However, many people were encouraged in the summit and felt fulfilled.
I feel so touched. I want to hug everyone in here. It's such a wonderful feeling, and I think this is what the world needs. The world needs, we need to reach out and touch the other person. I think that peace and love is so essential because it's missing in the world.
And as young people and even all the others, global citizens, that is what we need to do. Give your hand to someone else to stand up. Give your hand to understand what is love and peace, and empower that person to promote it and share among their own community. So as I see, that is what Dr. Hong is doing through the organization.
NGO representatives not only deliver speeches but also sing songs to share with others about love and peace. Since the year 2000, FOPAL has hosted over 15 Love and Peace World Leader Summits and forums during UNGA period, and gather NGOs to discuss future actions corresponding to the key topics of the United Nations. FOPAL youth members around the world also bring different cultural performance to encourage other NGOs and bring them positive energy, helping them continuously dedicate to world peace. Naomi Chen, Felicia Zhou, New York.
Thank you for watching GPDN Weekly News. I'm Ella Lee. See you next time.